They told her she didn't belong in the courtroom, just because of what she wore. 16-year-old Amara Jefferson stood frozen as laughter echoed off the marble walls, clutching her father's faded army jacket like a shield. "Sweetheart, this isn't a costume party," the deputy sneered. The crowd chuckled. But when a deep voice from the back of the room asked, "Where did you get that jacket?" every sound in the courtroom died at once. The air changed, and so did their faces. The sound of boots clicked across the floor, leading us into what none of them expected next. The gavel cracked once, echoing through the marble courtroom. Sunlight streamed through tall windows as a young black girl stood frozen near the door, clutching a faded olive jacket against her chest. Her name was Amara Jefferson, 16, quiet, eyes steady but trembling at the edges. The jacket hung too large on her frame, its patch frayed but still clear, a falcon diving through a storm, letters, SR, barely visible. The deputy leaned on the railing, his tone sharp enough to slice the silence. "Miss, this area's for family members only." "I am family," Amara said softly. He smirked. "Your daddy serve in a movie or something?" Laughter broke around the benches, small but cruel. She tried to explain, she was here for the hearing about the defamation case involving her father's name, but the deputy waved her off. "Take your jacket and wait outside. You're disrupting the court." Her throat tightened. The same jacket that smelled faintly of oil and dust, the last thing her father ever gave her, now treated like trash. A man at the back of the courtroom, a tall figure with silver hair and medals lining his chest, shifted in his seat, eyes narrowing at the patch. But no one noticed him yet. Amara turned to leave, the sound of her sneakers soft against the marble floor. Then came the deputy's final sting, "Next time, sweetheart, wear something that actually belongs to you." The laughter returned. The gavel struck again. But something in that strike carried a tremor, like thunder waiting to roll. Outside the courtroom, Amara sat alone on the cold bench, hands gripping the fabric of the jacket. The air smelled of paper, coffee, and disinfectant. Her heart beat fast enough to drown the muffled voices beyond the door. She stared at the patch, the falcon, the lightning, and whispered, "They don't know you saved lives, Dad." When she looked up, she saw her reflection in the polished brass plaque, Superior Court of Washington, D.C. Inside, she could still hear laughter. The deputy's voice was low, joking about kids playing soldier. It burned through the wood like acid. She brushed her thumb along the torn seam. Something small slid free, an old brass pin engraved with "Silent Raptor." She held it up to the light. The edges shimmered like memory itself. The door creaked open. A young clerk stepped out, whispering awkwardly, "They're looking for someone named Jefferson. A witness for today's case." Amara froze. "That's me." The clerk frowned. "You?" They said an adult. "I'm his daughter. Sergeant Marcus Jefferson. He can't come." The clerk's eyes widened. He hurried back inside. Seconds later, the deputy opened the door again, annoyance in his jaw. "We already told you to leave." Before she could speak, he grabbed her arm to escort her out. The courtroom turned to look. Someone laughed under their breath. Then, behind him, a voice rumbled across the hall like distant artillery, "Deputy." The deputy stopped cold. The tall man from the back of the room had risen. His uniform was dark blue, heavy with insignia. "Where did that jacket come from?" he asked. Amara blinked, too startled to speak. The room went still. The general stepped closer, each footfall deliberate. His eyes locked on the jacket, on the faded patch. "That insignia," he said slowly, "doesn't belong to a thrift store." The deputy stammered. "Sir," she claimed it was her father's. The general's gaze turned like steel. "Her father's name?" "Marcus Jefferson," Amara whispered. Silence. Then the general inhaled sharply, emotion breaking through the stern facade. "Sergeant Marcus Jefferson," he said, the name trembling between reverence and regret. "He was my communications chief. Operation Silent Raptor, 2009. He saved 12 of us when the line collapsed in Kandahar." Every head turned toward Amara. The laughter drained from the room like color fading from film. The general continued, voice rough, "That patch, he designed it himself. We thought his daughter was much younger." Amara swallowed. "He never came home." The general's voice dropped. "We know. His final transmission carried our coordinates. Without him, none of us would be here." The deputy lowered his eyes. The judge leaned forward, the entire courtroom caught in suspended breath. Amara stood still, tears glinting like glass. Then the general faced the judge. "Your Honor, this young woman is the daughter of a hero. I request she remain seated wherever she wishes." The judge nodded once. "Granted." The gavel fell again, soft this time, like respect landing quietly. The courtroom changed after that. The same benches that had whispered mockery now held silence as thick as prayer. The deputy stepped forward, hat in hand. "Ma'am. I didn't know. I'm sorry." Amara looked at him, then at her father's jacket. "Now you do." Her voice didn't tremble. The judge turned to the record clerk. "Make note, the court apologizes for the conduct of its officer. Let the record reflect that Sergeant Marcus Jefferson's service is honored by this court." Applause rippled, hesitant, then stronger. The general straightened and saluted her. Amara hesitated, then, in perfect form, she raised her hand and returned it, just as her father had taught her. The air seemed to brighten. For the first time, she smiled, not from pride, but from peace. The general approached, speaking softly. "He'd be proud of you, Amara." She nodded. "He already is." Reporters outside waited as she stepped into the daylight. Cameras flashed, but she didn't flinch. The jacket hung on her shoulders like armor, the patch catching the sun. In the distance, a faint echo of her father's voice seemed to ride the wind, "Stay steady, kiddo. Stand tall." Amara looked back at the courthouse steps. "I did, Dad," she whispered. And somewhere between justice and memory, the world bowed its head.